Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another session. I'm on live Facebook today as I was having problems with Smile Time this time around. Thank you for watching, and if you are watching live, feel free to pop a comment in if you have any questions during the session. Otherwise, I will be happy to answer them after the session. Just put something in the comments and I can come back to you. This week's session is going to be about delegation and along the topics of valuing your time. Delegating is one of the ways that you can really use your time far more productively and make the best use of your time. So what I wanted to cover in this session is the benefits of delegating, how to delegate effectively, and also when and what you should delegate. So if you want to increase the number of hours that you have available in your day, outsourcing and delegating is a really good way to help you focus on the core of what you do in your business or your career, and delegate those tasks that you really don't need to be doing, or you shouldn't be doing, or the sorts of things that you tend to just take on because you say yes, then you find that you're overwhelmed and you've just got too much to do. So if you delegate just 1 hour of your time each week, then you're going to give yourself much more time to focus on the things that you really need to be focusing on. So think about your own skills and your abilities. Maybe there are things that you like to do, maybe there are things that you don't like so much, and those are probably the things that you can have a look at delegating. Things that other people are better, quicker, more efficient at doing than you are, so that you are able to stick to what you're good at and focus on what's really important that only you can do. So if you find that you're working long hours, in particular, it may be that you're just taking on too much, or if you've exhausted all the resources that you have available dealing with a particular project or problem, then that's a good opportunity to look elsewhere, get support, outsource, or delegate and get other people involved. Also, if you're a perfectionist, it can be really useful to ask for help before it gets too late and you find that you run out of time, or you get really stuck in a problem and you then become far too stressed out. So that's a good point at which to have a look at, outside of your own skills and abilities, looking at delegating. We tend to just sort of get on and do things and keep ourselves busily moving forward, taking on new and more project works, juggling life, children, partners, friends and family. And particularly here in the UK, we tend to just sort of soldier bravely on and just keep taking on work and doing more and more, and not admitting that when we actually need help or we could benefit from support. So that's one of the first things to be aware of is, are you taking on too much, and is there an opportunity for you to delegate? There will always be certain tasks that you can't delegate, so be aware of those, and things that you need to keep control of, particularly if they are of a more personal nature, HR related, if it's within the work that you're doing. And you might be quite happy to get someone else to help you out and do some of this work. But equally, what I tend to find is that a lot of people are reluctant to let go, and this can really cause a block in enabling you to delegate and outsource. There's always this, they won't do it as well as I can. I'm going to need to take time to train them, and I don't have that time, ironically. And then there's the, well, if they get it wrong, I'll have to end up doing it myself anyway. So letting go of certain tasks is where there's a sort of a real resistance and a block to delegating. But once you understand the benefits of actually letting go of some of the stuff that you really don't need to do, then not only can you make better choices with your time and value your time more, but you also give other people the opportunity to develop and grow by letting them learn skills, getting them more involved and understanding what's involved in that process. So delegation is a great way to increase your productivity and achieve more, especially if you find that you are sort of pushed for time. You hand over or outsource tasks that, as I said, somebody else is better qualified to do, and particularly these tend to be around accounting, particularly people that run their own businesses. HR type related things, often find that's something people within business are trying to sort of take on some of those roles, when actually there is someone else within the organisation that is better qualified to do that for them. So think about all the tasks that you do on a daily or a weekly or perhaps even just a monthly basis, and look at whether they are tasks that only you can do, or is there actually somebody else that could do those tasks for you, or would do them better than you, or do them quicker and more efficiently, particularly with things like accounting and bookkeeping. A lot of business owners will take time in their evenings and their weekends to catch up on their admin, and it will take longer to do because they don't necessarily have the skills and the ability to do it, or they're not as quick doing it. So that is a sort of a really good area to be able to outsource that to someone else who can do it in potentially a tenth of the time you can, and it's a much more cost-effective way of using your time. If you think back to you look at some of the previous sessions I've done on valuing your time, knowing what you're worth and how you can charge what you're worth, it very quickly becomes obvious that if you pay somebody to do some of these other tasks, you can focus on what's important for you and what's core and what only you can do, and it's a much more effective, it's more cost effective as well as time effective. There is a tendency, and this is why it's important to understand how to delegate effectively, that some people will dump tasks. So they suddenly get busy, they realise they're running out of time, or they don't have the resources, and they will be dumping some of those tasks onto somebody else rather than delegating. So this is where it helps to understand what effective delegation is. And also, if you're if you're one of the people that gets delegated to, as in you're at the end of the sort of the work chain, question I often sort of get from people is, well, I've got no one to delegate to because I'm at the end of, I'm the one that has all this work delegated to me. Then understanding what effective delegation is will help you as well. And you need to think of it along the lines of the sort of who, what, where, when and how of delegation. So I call it as a good way of remembering how to delegate effectively. So first point, think about what it is that you're delegating and what is it that needs doing, and how much detail and information do you need to give the person that you're delegating to. If you get really clear about what it is that's being delegated, it makes it much easier, not only for you to be able to show the other person what needs doing, but for them to understand what's happening. And also check with them when you delegate a task that they really do understand what's going on. I think we've all experienced that sort of situation where you give somebody a piece of work to do and you sort of say, are you okay with that? And they go, yeah. When actually they're not really sure, but they don't necessarily want to say no. So understanding also their level of skills and abilities is important in knowing whether they're the right person to delegate to, but also being aware that actually it's a real development opportunity. So they may get it wrong the first time, you may have to show them a couple of times, but in the long term it's worth your while because it means that you then don't have to do that task and somebody else can just pick it up. Also understand why this task is important. This helps them to understand how they can prioritise it, the benefit of doing it, and how it fits into the bigger picture. So what's its priority and importance compared to anything else that they might be doing. Something else which again quite often gets missed is the when aspect. When do you need it done by? Again, I'm sure we've all experienced being given a task to do or a project which is just a sort of, here, can you do this, full stop, no, when do you need it by, or I want it by a certain time. So make sure that the person that you're delegating or outsourcing to, or the work that you're being given, you know what the time frame is. So can you do this for me? Yes, I need it by later today, tomorrow, next week. So you are then able to, as when you're delegating, know when you need to follow up, chase up, or when you expect it back. If it's a big task, it might be that you need to have stepping stones along the way, check in, find out how things are getting on, what's happening, without then getting down to the level of micromanaging, where you're constantly checking in, or you're constantly asking for updates, or you're looking over the person's shoulder, or you're checking everything that you're doing, that they're doing, because again, that's not a very effective way of delegating. Have a look at and think about where they can go for any information or resources or support they need to do this task, whether it's talking to other people, resources for information, anything they might need to help them complete that task. And also give them plenty of notice about what's needed, or whether they actually have the time available to do this task. It's all very well asking someone to do something, and you get that, yep, I'll do it, if they really don't have the time and it's going to put them under pressure. Think about how the task needs to be done. There are different ways of doing things. There may be certain systems and processes in place that they need to know or need to be aware of in how to do this task. But with some tasks, there's also an element of let them do it their way, as long as you get the end result that you want, because there may be more than one way of doing a certain task, and it may actually also be a part of process improvement. You find a more efficient way of doing it. Other people will look at things and work in different ways, and that can all help improve productivity and efficiency. But if there is something very specific they need to know about the system, the processes required, then let them know that up front as well. When you're thinking about who is going to do the task, it's, do they have the right skills and abilities and information to be able to achieve this task successfully? It's all very well saying they won't be able to do it properly, or they won't do it as well as me, if you haven't given them the right information, or they don't have the right training and development to enable them to do that. And that's where delegation can be a really important part of developing a group or a team, or other people within the organisation or the business, inside and out. So if you keep those different elements in mind, you'll be much more effective when you delegate. So back to, what is the task being delegated? Why is this task important? When does it need to be done by? Where can they go for support? How will it be done, if that's relevant? And who is going to do the task? It's also a really useful exercise, delegating tasks, because it gets it clear in your mind as well. What's required, what are the systems and processes behind it, and it also helps you to think about how important this task is when it fits into or needs to be outsourced. And that's something I've found, again, with a lot of people, when they start to think about delegating, they improve the process, they make it more efficient before they then hand it over. So there's an overall productivity improvement in the whole process of delegating. And if you're outsourcing, so you're going to an external person or company to get this work done for you, you need to be even more clear about what's required. So you set those expectations up front about what's being delegated, what's going to happen, and how you expect it to be done, and also to the results that you expect, and to a certain level of quality that you can measure and then feel comfortable about doing it. So delegating, outsourcing, great way of increasing the time that you have available. So if you have any questions around delegating, or you're finding it difficult to understand what and how you can delegate, or you struggle with that aspect of letting go or knowing how to get it done effectively, then either pop a comment in, or you can contact me through my website, or send me a private message. Take a look at I'll pop these up on YouTube as well, so if you want to get notifications, then follow this page or subscribe to my YouTube channel, and get in touch via my website if you would like to. There are some blog posts on there that outline the points of delegation, the who, what, where, when and how, and some of the other key areas of what and how to delegate and delegating effectively. So I hope that has been useful for you today. Get in touch if there's anything specific you would like help with, and I look forward to speaking with you or hearing from you next time. Thank you.